everyone, and welcome back to English with Lucy. Today, I am bringing you part 2 of my collaboration with Bob the Canadian and Rachel from Rachel's English. We are doing a comparison of British English, American English, and Canadian English. Last time we looked at the difference in vocabulary, and today we're going to be looking at pronunciation. Let me quickly introduce my two wonderful guests. First up, we have Rachel from Rachel's English.
My name is Rachel and I run the YouTube channel Rachel's English, where we cover all things spoken English with an emphasis on American English, slang, the American accent, listening comprehension, conversation skills, and so on.
And representing Canada, we have Bob from Learn English with Bob the Canadian.
Well, hello Lucy and all of Lucy's viewers. I'm Bob the Canadian from the YouTube channel Learn English with Bob the Canadian, and I'm here today to read a few sentences for you with my Canadian accent.
If you've never met me before, my name's Lucy. I run this channel, English with Lucy, and I come from Cambridgeshire in England, and I speak with a modern RP accent, sometimes with a hint of estuary. I wonder if you can spot that ever. As always, there is a free PDF that goes along with today's lesson. If you would like to download it, all you've got to do is click on the link in the description box. You enter your name and your email address. You sign up to my mailing list and the PDF will be sent directly to your inbox. And then every week after that, you will automatically receive all of my free PDFs along with my news, course information and updates. Okay, so how is it going to work today? Well, I have got 6 groups of 3 sentences. We're going to read them one after the other so you can immediately compare the differences in how we pronounce things. Let's get started. So first up, we're going to have a look at my O and OR sounds. These can be very different in American English and Canadian English. Have a listen. I caught the cot.
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 Number 2. The tot was taught.
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 And number 3. I bought a bot.
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 I bought a bot. When I read these sentences, I say both words the same way. I caught the cot. The tot was taught. I bought a bot.
So that's really interesting. Both of them pronounce it in a really similar way. I caught the cot. But for me, it's very, very different. Caught, cot. Similar mouth shape. One is much longer than the other. Caught, cot. Caught, cot. Taught, tot. Bought, bot. Listen to these next 3. This for me is the O sound before an sound. Number 1, borrow.
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 Number 2, sorry.
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 Number 3, tomorrow.
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 So all 3 of us sound so different here. I love Bob's or. It's like a really long one, sorry. For me it's oh, sorry, sorry. And Rachel's is more of a sorry, 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 sorry. It's so fun. This is why I love pronunciation. It is so much fun.
In particular, the word sorry I pronounce with a very strong Canadian accent. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, sorry. Yeah, that's really distinctive. Because before I started studying pronunciation, I really struggled to tell the difference between the American accents and the Canadian accents. I wouldn't have been able to identify people. The or, sorry sound for me makes that quite easy to differentiate. I wonder if the whole of Canada says it in that way or if it's a particular region or generation. In these next three, we're going to have a look or a listen to the flap T. Consider how I say the T sound in the middle of words compared to how Rachel and Bob say it. Number 1, a little bit of butter.
A little bit of butter.
These are going to be a bit challenging even for me. A little bit of butter.
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 Number 2, it's wetter in Toronto.
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 So did you notice that Rachel dropped the second T in Toronto? Toronto. That's because in American English, they sometimes drop the T when it comes after an N. Toronto. Toronto. My American accent is just horrendous. Another good example of this is internet for me. For Americans, internet. Internet. And number 3, I know a lot about it.
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 I know a lot about it. So you'll notice when I say Toronto, I actually say Toronto. So here we go again. A little bit of butter. It's wetter in Toronto. I know a lot about it.
Okay, I feel like the odd one out here because I do pronounce my T's in the middle of words. Now, in British English, we do use a glottal stop quite frequently. If I was speaking really quickly or with my friends, I might drop the T in little and say lil, lil. You might also hear a glottal stop like little, a little bit, a little bit. It's a very soft glottal stop. We don't tend to use the flap T as much, which is when you almost, and it's not exactly a D, but it sounds very similar to a D, a little bit of butter. It doesn't sound right in my accent, but it sounds perfectly fine in theirs. It's curious that both of them say Toronto. Bob almost completely skips a syllable there. Toronto, Toronto. For me, it's Toronto. Toronto.
Love the flap T. It's so fun.
I think the flap T is fun. And you know what? I am actually hearing the flap T creeping into British English now. And it seems to be a sort of posh thing. I'm hearing sort of middle and upper class Londoners, it seems, based in Chelsea. If you listen to Made in Chelsea, that's a TV show about young rich people in Chelsea. They'll say, yeah, I think it's butter, it's butter. But that was never really a thing in the past to use that flap T. Maybe it's because they're so well travelled that they go over to the States and Canada and they've picked up that flap T. This next bundle will hopefully show a bit of the British influence on Canadian English. Have a listen. Again and against.
Again, against. Again and against.
Again and against.
Again and against.
Again, against. Again and against.
Again and against. Like if the Toronto Maple Leafs play a game against the Montreal Canadiens.
So it's interesting that they both say again and against, whereas for me it is again and against. You will also hear Brits saying again and against. I think that's something that we've picked up from consuming so much American media. Yeah, I think you'd find me using both actually, with no real identifiable rhyme or reason. Avenue.
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 So for me it's avenue. New. That's a big difference between British English and American English. They say new, we say new. I was curious to hear what Bob had to say because I have heard Canadians say new as well. And the last one, adult.
Adult.
And adult.
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 And adult. So that's how I would say those, again and against, avenue and adult.
So the stress on adult and adult is different for us. For me, adult. Go and tell an adult. And for them, it's go and tell an adult. Adult, adult. Okay, next we're going to have a look at how we all say what I would say is the ow sound, because there's a common stereotype that the Canadians pronounce it as a boot. And Bob is going to show us if that's true or not. First up, out and about.
Out and about.
So you'll hear my Canadian accent fairly strongly again in the following. If I say out and about.
Out and about.
Out and about.
Out and about.
Next, how's the house?
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 And finally, the sound is too loud.
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 The sound is too loud. Some people think that Canadians say the word about like a boat, but we don't. Here's a sentence so you can hear the difference. The man was out and about in his boat. It's a classic Canadian phrase if you want to hear a Canadian accent. The man was out and about in his boat.
The man was out and about in his boat. I can definitely hear the difference between Rachel's accent and Bob's accent there. His is definitely more of a ooh, and hers is wider. Mine seems to be wider still. Out and about. Our final group of words are words beginning with pro. There are definitely some differences here. First up, process.
Process.
Process or process.
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 So words like process or process, they make me laugh a little bit because I don't even know why I use two pronunciations. I could say a sentence like this: the process for making bread is a very long process. And I pronounce the word two different ways. I blame this mostly on the fact that Canadian English is a blend of American and British English. So the process was a long process. Yeah, weird, eh? I don't even know why I choose one pronunciation over the other.
That's so interesting that he uses both. I guess it's like again and again for us. We use both and we don't really know why. The next two are noun-verb pairs. So first I'll say the noun, then I'll say the verb. Project, project. You will hear some people saying project instead of project.
Project. Project.
You can work on a project. You can also work on a project.
Project, project.
Project. Project.
So with project, I'm trying to figure out which pronunciation is most common. Like you can work on a project, you can also work on a project. I think the first one is more common in Canadian English. I think project is more common. But we also have the verb form, right? To project. So as a student, you can work on a project and then you can project your project to the class using a projector. Yeah, it gets a little confusing when you're Canadian. I think we just go with the flow. We just pick whatever pronunciation makes the most sense at the time.
Oh yes, so our pronunciation is very different there. For me, it's project, project. And for Rachel, it's more of a R sound, project. And the last one, progress, to progress.
Progress. Progress.
Progress and progress.
Progress, to progress.
Progress. Progress.
Progress and progress.
Same for Bob there as well. Progress, progress, project. For me, project, progress. Progress sometimes as well. Yeah, I think this has just made it clear that we're not quite sure what we're doing.
They're doing some road work actually on my road this week, and I don't think they're making a lot of progress. When I drive by, I just don't think they're making a lot of progress because they're usually just standing around. So you can see once again, as a Canadian, I say progress and I say progress. I don't even know why I choose the pronunciations I do. The words just come out, either using one pronunciation, progress, or the other, progress. And then of course we have the verb as well, right? To progress, which has another pronunciation entirely, to progress.
Right, that is it for today's pronunciation lesson. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something. Thank you so much to Rachel and Bob for their invaluable contribution to this video. I've left all of their information down below in the description box so you can go and check out their channels and their websites and everything. Don't forget to download the free PDF that comes with today's lesson. It's got everything we've spoken about today. If you'd like to download that, just click on the link in the description box. You enter your name and your email address and it will arrive directly in your inbox along with all my other lessons every week as they come in and all of my offers, course information and updates. Don't forget to connect with me on all of my social media. I've got my website, englishwithlucy.co.uk, and my Instagram. And on my website, I've got a really cool pronunciation tool where you can click on all the phonemes and hear me pronounce phonemes and words that contain those phonemes. It's very fun. E. Word. No. I've also got my personal channel where I upload vlogs of my daily life here on a farm in the English countryside, and all of them are subtitled so you can use them to acquire more vocabulary and to improve your listening as well. I will see you soon for another lesson. Mwah!